It's grit and grace, side by side, fire in my chest, calm in my mind. I'll build what lasts, I'll choose my lane, turn pressure into purpose, paint it again. With grit and grace, I'm free to be all I am, becoming steadily.
There are seasons in life and business where it feels like you blink and suddenly the map has changed. A key staff member resigns, a big client leaves, costs rise, the market shifts, you get sick, a family situation lands in your lap, or you simply wake up one day and realise the way I've been doing this isn't working anymore. And the hardest part is not always the practical change, it's the emotional experience of it, the disorientation and the uncertainty, the sense of falling and not knowing where you'll land. That's why we're starting this series with Alice in Wonderland, because the opening of that story captures something business owners and families feel all the time. The moment you fall into a situation you didn't plan for and you still have to lead yourself through it. Welcome to Grit and Grace, where we talk business, mindset, well-being, leadership, and the standards that make success sustainable. I'm Donagh, and this is episode 1 of our 8-part Alice in Wonderland series. Over the next 8 episodes, we'll use characters and moments from the story to explore what it really feels like to run a business and a life. The uncertainty, the pressure, the decision fatigue, team dynamics, boundaries, systems, and how to stay steady when things feel messy. Today's episode is called Down the Rabbit Hole, leading when life changes the map. And at the end, I'll give you one practical action you can take this week and one reflection prompt to sit with and think about. Because insight is lovely, but leadership is what you do next and how quickly you do it. So let's get into it. We'll start with a moment that we all recognise. Alice sees the white rabbit. He's unusual, he's busy, he's a bit frantic, and she follows him. And then almost immediately she is falling. Everything changes quickly, the familiar disappears, and she has to make sense of a world with different rules. Now, whether you've read the book recently or not, you don't need the details. You already know the feeling. It's the feeling of starting a business and realising it's nothing like you imagined. It's being booked out and still not making the money you thought you would. It's hiring someone and realising leadership is a completely different skill set. It's having a family situation shift and suddenly your capacity is cut in half. It's receiving an unexpected bill or having a quiet month or a feeling that drops in your stomach. Down the Rabbit Hole is not just a story, it's a season. And the reason I like this as the first episode is because it normalises something very important. When you feel disoriented, it doesn't mean you are failing. It often means that you are in a transition. In business ownership, uncertainty is not an occasional visitor. It's part of the deal. But uncertainty creates specific challenges. And we try to solve uncertainty with speed. When things feel unstable, many people default to doing more tasks, more hours, more responding, more fixing, more activity, more learning. But speed does not automatically create stability. Sometimes it creates more mistakes, more emotional reactivity, and more exhaustion. And the other thing we try to do is we try to solve uncertainty by demanding certainty. We tell ourselves, I'll act, but when I feel confident. I'll decide when I know for sure. I'll invest when I can see the outcome. But business doesn't work like that. You don't get certainty first. You earn clarity through action. Our nervous system interprets uncertainty as danger. And this is the well-being piece that people underestimate. When the future feels unclear, your body can respond as if you're under threat. There's poor sleep, irritation, brain fog, snapping at the people you love, procrastination, avoidance of numbers, I often call it sticking your head in the sand, avoidance of hard conversations, compulsive busyness without actually achieving anything. So before we even get to strategy, we have to acknowledge that a lot of people call lack of discipline is actually stress. So the first principle I want you to take from episode 1 is when you fall into a new season, stabilise first, then optimise. Most people do it the other way around and they try to optimise straight away. So they do new marketing, new offers, new staff, new platforms, new systems. They rebrand, then they restructure everything. And everybody loses out in the end, because in a season of instability, the first job is not growth. The first job is stability. And stability looks like knowing what cash you have and what cash is due. Knowing what matters this week, not just this year. Having clear communication with your clients and your team. Protecting your energy so you can think clearly. And reducing the avoidable chaos. This is how you stop the fall. And when you stop the fall, you create the space to make good decisions. On a practical note, when business owners feel overwhelmed, they often need a simple structure that returns them to reality very quickly without needing an entire weekend and a perfect mindset. This is called the Stabiliser Plan. So the first thing is cash this week. Not your annual profit, not your long-term goals this week. So what cash is currently in the bank? What is due to come in the next 7 to 14 days? What is due to go out in the next 7 to 14 days? Who needs following up today, politely and professionally? What can be negotiated, delayed, or planned properly? So this is not panic, this is leadership. Your calendar. If you do not control your calendar, other people will. What are the 3 non-negotiables for you this week? Where is your time leaking? What can be deferred, delegated, or declined? Where do you need thinking time, not just doing time? And you'll honestly cross out things in your calendar like the kids' appointments, the kids' soccer after school. And while these things are all important, you need to cross out the things that are important for you, for your mindset, and for your business. So what are your key priorities for this week? Not 10, not 20, just 3 priorities. If everything is important, then nothing is. Choose 3 priorities that, if completed, would create stability, such as sending invoices and following up people who owe you money. Quote the work that will keep the pipeline healthy. Fix the one operational issue causing repeated errors. Have the conversation that you've been avoiding, whether it's with a client or a staff member. Review pricing on the service that is draining you. And this plan works because it keeps you out of the spiral and brings you back to what is true and actionable. What happens when we bring in leadership and a team? Because when you are in a rabbit hole season, your team feels it too, even if you never say it. A simple leadership skill that matters here is what is called narrating the change. And this means that you communicate what is happening, what it means, what the priorities are, what support is available, and what won't change. You don't need to overshare, but you do need to reduce the uncertainty. Something that might give you a hint as to what I'm talking about here. Hey team, we're in a tighter cash flow period this month, so the priority is invoicing on time, following up promptly, and sticking to the scope. If you see a job that's starting to blow out, flag it early. We're focusing on stability and quality, and we'll review it again in 2 weeks. Or if you're talking to your clients, we're currently booking 2 weeks ahead. If you need a specific date, please secure it early. We'll keep you updated and we'll stick to clear communication. Clarity is calming. Silence leaves people to imagine the worst. And if you're a solo operator, the same applies. But you narrate it to yourself. You stop telling yourself vague, scary stories and you tell yourself the truth. This is the season I'm in. This is what I'm doing this week. This is what can wait. And that too is leadership. Now, the well-being piece, because it matters, is if you are in a season where things have changed quickly, I want to remind you, you don't have to earn rest by finishing everything. When people are stressed, they often wait for the perfect moment to look after themselves, and it never comes. So instead, think in micro actions that stabilise you, whether it's a 10-minute walk before you start work, whether it's one proper meal instead of grazing, whether it's going to bed at a reasonable time instead of catching up on life late at night, taking a breath before responding to a difficult message, scheduling 30 minutes of thinking time so your brain can settle. You are not a machine. You are the person running the machine. And if you don't stabilise the operator, the operations will suffer. So, challenge. Your single action, and I want you to do this within 48 hours. Create your one-page Stabiliser plan. 3 headings: cash, calendar, and your top 3 priorities. Keep it simple. Handwritten is fine. The point is not perfection. We've talked about that before. The point is orientation. So your reflection prompt for this week: where am I demanding certainty before I allow myself to move? And if you're a little bit stuck on that, try this follow-up question. What would it look like to take one sensible step without needing the whole plan? So if you're in a rabbit hole season right now, I want you to hear this clearly. Feeling disoriented doesn't mean you're failing. It often means you're adjusting to a new reality. Stabilise first and then optimise. And remember that you don't need to control the whole world. You just need to lead the next step. Until next time, keep your grit and protect your grace.
In the quiet, before the daylight breaks, I'm drawing lines for my own sake. I've carried more than I let on show, still found a way to learn and grow. With steady hands I set the pace, a fierce heart held in gentle space. I won't trade my peace for proof, I won't build a life without a roof. I'll rise, I'll rest, I'll recalibrate, strong enough to do, wise enough to wait. It's grit and grace, side by side, fire in my chest, calm in my mind. I'll build what lasts, I'll choose my lane, turn pressure into purpose, paint it again. With grit and grace, I'm free to be all I am, becoming steadily. I won't shrink back to make it easy, I won't stay small to keep things tidy. I'll speak the truth, I'll name my worth, put roots down deep and do the work. And when it's heavy, I won't break, I'll bend with care, then reset my faith. I'll measure growth in more than gold, in quiet wins and courage bold. I'll lead with heart, I'll honor pace, ambition guided by restraint and grace. It's grit and grace, side by side, fire in my chest, calm in my mind. I'll build what lasts, I'll choose my lane, turn pressure into purpose, paint it again. With grit and grace, I'm free to be all I am, becoming steadily. Let it be simple, let it be true, a steady rhythm pulling me through. When doubt is loud, I'll still begin, again and again I'll choose to win. Not by force, not by fear, by showing up year after year. It's grit and grace, side by side, fire in my chest, calm in my mind. I'll build what lasts, I'll choose my lane, turn pressure into purpose, paint it again. With grit and grace, I'm free to be all I am, becoming steadily. Grit and grace, I rise, I breathe, I make my place. Grit and grace, side by side,